Hello and welcome to this special radio town hall meeting against corruption by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMORG. I am Adaobi Obiabobon. PRIMORG is a civil society group with a mandate to promote good governance, participation, and accountability. The MacArthur Foundation supports this town hall meeting against corruption. Today's town hall meeting will review Nigeria's journey since the inception of funding constituency projects in 1999. Speakers will discuss how to deal with the age-long corruption and challenges in the execution of constituency projects in the country. We will hear from the organization that investigated the execution of constituency projects. The program will feature Honorable Solomon Bulus Maren, a member of the House of Representatives representing Mangu Boko's Federal Constituency, Plateau State; Jide Ojo, Development Consultant, author, and Public Affairs Analyst; Tom Odemige, a former features editor of The Guardian, a development expert and current coordinator of Outgrow Hunger Nigeria campaign; Chiamaka Okafo, project assistant on Udeme, Premium Times Center for Investigative Journalism; Mukhtar Modibo, Community Engagement Officer at Connected Development. Let me introduce the moderator for today's town hall meeting. He is an award-winning writer, media consultant, broadcaster, poet, storyteller, and critic. He is the CEO of the Bentastic Media Limited and has over 20 years' experience in the industry. Benjamin Ubiri, we are glad again to have you moderate our radio town hall meeting against corruption. And remember that you can be part of this meeting. Be ready to join us through the phone in the course of the deliberation. You can begin to send your views to 0902-265-6167. That is 0902-265-6167. Let me leave the stage for our able moderator, Ben Ubiri, who would come in after this timeout. Voices against corruption. Let the people speak.
Hello and welcome to PRIMORG's public feedback series on corruption called Voices Against Corruption. And we ask, do you think corruption is responsible for the poor execution of many constituency projects in Nigeria?
I have never seen anybody, any lawmaker, a senator or a House of Rep member that has come out publicly to say, okay, I have executed 80% project in my constituency. Rather, what we see on media every day is people giving people donkey, people giving people rope to tie their goats. And these are not the type of constituency projects we are talking about. These are not the type of constituency projects we carry out and we're proud of. So corruption is highly responsible for why these things are not being carried out in various constituencies.
They will start a project. Before they will leave, they will not finish the project. The new ones will come. For them to start with that very old project, they will abandon it and start a fresh one, and them too will not finish it. That is how the corruption is eating this country.
Road projects, which we have here, I think it has been like that for some years now, and it's yet to be completed. So it is corruption. And what made it to be so is that there is no monitoring. If a project is given out, there should be a monitoring so that those who are executing it will be able to finish the project given to them, just because there is no monitoring. And that is why corruption is thriving.
The budget of the National Assembly made provisions for the execution of constituency projects. But many a times, those projects are not executed. Even where they are executed, you discover that only a fraction of the money is spent for the project. And as such, the money goes into the individual pockets.
We don't see anything that is happening in terms of infrastructure development. Corruption is so high.
Year in, year out, there is budget for everything in Nigeria. But at the end of the day, we will not see anything. Even in the community, there is nothing is working. If you watch so many communities, it's all those NGOs that sink wells. Not even the House of Rep or senators that come from that constituency that did all those things. If you watch very well. So all boil that to corruption.
And welcome again to the program. It is still the radio town hall meeting brought to you courtesy of the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development. Zonal Intervention Program, ZIP, popularly called the Constituency Project, was originally initiated by the nation's parliament at the inception of the Fourth Republic with the aim of achieving even development in every nook and cranny of Nigeria. In achieving this, the National Assembly yearly budgets an amount of which portions are ceded to lawmakers to nominate projects in their constituencies. And in recent times, the budget for constituency project has been about 100 billion naira annually. Unfortunately, over 21 years after the inception, constituency project is widely referred to as a failed phenomenon and an avenue to siphon the country's resources. Even President Olusegun Obasanjo, who played a pivotal role in the innovation of this constituency project, had in 2017 described the constituency projects embarked upon by lawmakers as corruption, while President Muhammadu Buhari last December revealed that there was little to show for over 11 trillion naira budgeted for constituency projects nominated by National Assembly members in the last 10 years. It will also be recalled that the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the ICPC, had commenced tracking of constituency projects where they uncovered diversion of public projects, abandonment, poor quality in project executions, and a lot more. Similarly, non-governmental organizations have exposed overwhelming corruption in constituency projects execution in their various investigations. Yet, we will not throw it away that there are many success stories in some communities across Nigeria where these projects were well executed to the pride of the lawmakers who nominated them in the very first place. On today's meeting, we will have Premium Times give us a brief account of their findings. Having investigated constituency project execution over the years, other stakeholders will also robustly discuss ways the nation can, with the age-long corruption and challenges militating against the execution of constituency projects in Nigeria. Once again, I want to say welcome. And remember that you out there, you are in this town hall meeting with us, and wherever you're listening from, you have the opportunity to make your contributions. So when we open the lines, get ready to call in, ask your questions, and seek all the clarifications that you need. Your contributions will be on how much your community has been impacted since the creation of constituency projects, and how do we stop corruption in the execution of constituency projects in Nigeria. I'll go now to our guest. First of them, of course, is a member of the House of Representatives and hopefully one who has been able to nominate projects in his constituency. He represents Mangu Bokos Federal Constituency in Plateau State. Honorable Solomon Bulus Maren, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Let us honor you, Honorable, by allowing you to first walk us through the gains and challenges in execution of constituency projects in Nigeria.
Thank you. Constituency projects, as you are well aware, started during the era of late President Umaru Yar'Adua, who at that time, I was not in Parliament, but members of Parliament felt that a lot goes on sometimes around the country, and by the time they go home to their various constituencies, they never see the presence of the government in their constituencies. And so some monies were set aside up to the tune of 100 billion for that purpose. And out of this money, 10 billion is shared per each zone of the federation. And that gives you about 60 billion. And then the balance of 40 billion is shared among the leadership of the National Assembly. And so majority of members, 350 of them, share 60% of this money, including the 109 in the Senate, and that is what they refer to as constituency project, that every member who is not a leader or in leadership position in the House gets, and that is shared among the states within the zones. And these states within the zone, they differ. In some zones you have up to 7 states, in some zones you have up to 6 states. Like my zone, the North Central, we have 6 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, making 7. So ours will usually be less than people who are probably from the Southeast, who have 5 states, and they are sharing the same 10 billion. So these are some of the indices of the constituency project. And what happens is that members nominate these projects. I want us to note that they nominate.
You are not contractors?
No, we are not contractors.
You don't nominate contractors?
We don't nominate contractors, but I will not say some have not nominated contractors in the past, but we don't nominate. I don't nominate contractors. But what I do is I nominate the jobs and put them in the place where they can be fundable. Initially, when I came in 2015, I started by nominating some capital projects. And at the end of the day, there were no releases made. And the releases made at that time, I think it was less than 40 or 50 or 60%. And therefore, the contract cannot be concluded. And so we had to go into the next year, renominate those some projects. And then at the end of the day, that was the only moment that they were completed. And so members have found this as a challenge, that sometimes if you nominate a capital project, you find out that the capital project is never completed because releases are never 100%. And I think Nigerians should note also that these projects or these monies we are talking about, they are not given to members of National Assembly.
Yeah, but
they are nominated by the members of National Assembly.
Yeah, but why
agencies
would government
of
not take this as priority since it's coming to National Assembly members?
That is the question some of us keep asking.
Yeah, but is it possible that there is some meddlesomeness?
Let me even tell
members
you, sir,
getting involved either indirectly, frustrating contractors, asking for kickbacks?
Even in the situation where government even make releases, let's even say 60-70%, there are some agencies of government that never even implement those projects at all. And that is one of the challenges also that members have. So you find out that yes, sometimes releases are made, but this implementation is not even carried out. Or sometimes it's carried out haphazardly. They tell you that it's an era where we prioritize projects, and so when payments come, they try to, balance the payment. If your own is 70%, and they say no, all of that projects is 50%, so everything will go to 50%. And you can imagine, sir, if you are building a hospital or a classroom block, and then you abandon it at 50%, and you are not fortunate enough to return to the house to continue. And I think that is also a very serious problem in our country. It doesn't stop with constituency projects in the National Assembly. It goes as far back as our even governors in the states and even chairmen of local government. You go to our states, you find so many abandoned projects because somebody has handed over power to somebody. I think these are things that Nigerians must collectively address. And I think I'm very happy for this moment that Nigerians are already talking about it. We should be able to find solutions to it. We should be able to address our country and put it on the path of growth, not that every government is depending on the individual's perception of what should be done and what should not be done. I think the blueprint should be that whatever program we have started, there should be programs that must be completed.
Yeah, we will get back to you, but I just want to be sure the people of Mangu, Bokos, Federal Constituency, are they happy with constituency projects, especially the ones you nominated?
Well, I cannot say, because that can only, you can only
are
ask
they completed?
Them. No, you can only ask them, because I cannot say they are happy, because it would be as if I'm praising myself. But it is that when you go down there, you hear the reports of what we are doing, whether they are not happy or they are happy. And this is what also tells you whether you can return or you cannot return.
One of your constituents will call before the end of the program. When your people find out that testimony,
when your people are happy, you know that they will return you severally. If you are not happy, they take you away. And so these are some of the things. And fortunately for me, it is the first time in the history of my constituency that a member has been re-elected for a second term in office, even though in the opposition. And I came in the opposition, and I was re-elected in the opposition. So I think, to a large extent, I have done my best to make sure that my people benefit from the activities of government. I will interest you to note, sir, that since I came into government in 2015, into the National Assembly, apart from those things that I have been able to do or attract in my constituency, there is no one single federal government presence in my constituency, except for those things I've been able to do. So these are some of the challenges that we face when we get back there. And I think it's good we are discussing it, and I hope that more solutions will come so that Nigeria will move forward. I think that's my own desire. All
right, thank you very much, Honorable. We will get back to Honorable Solomon Bulus Mariam, but first let's go to Premium Times. They've been investigating and going through constituency projects, finding out all of this. Chiamaka Okafor is of the Premium Times Center for Investigative Journalism, and she's been able to bring some results. Maybe you tell us, what are the high points of your investigation? Do touch on the interactions with the indicted agencies and individuals. Can you just bring us up to speed with that?
Thanks for having me. So moving on to what we found regarding constituency projects in Nigeria, it's a duplication. It looks like this is a cult activity. So you find the same thing across every zone in Nigeria. It is not particular specific to a particular region, you know. So you see projects that are nominated. For those who try to complete them, now we can't categorically say this is a fault from the lawmaker, the agency, or from the contractor. So for those you find completed, they stop functioning just few months or few years after commissioning, and you begin to ask yourself, is this a problem of, you know, inferior materials used? And contractor will say, no, I did my job very well. You call agency will say, call lawmaker. You call lawmaker will say, call agency. I'm not the contractor, you know. So you keep getting this back and forth interaction, no solution at all. So for constituency projects in Nigeria, we've come to see repeated, you know, it's a pattern. Yeah, that's the right word to use. It's a pattern of, it's either it's abandoned, it's either it's completed and not functioning, it's either you complete it functions for a while and then it stops functioning. So the question goes on and on. Why then would you nominate a project you don't want to see function, or you wouldn't, you know, follow through to make sure that it's serving the purpose for which you nominated it for? And then is this a question of corruption? I don't know if corruption is the right word, but of course corruption is a factor. But then it cuts across both the constituents and the representative.
From your research, where do you think the problem is the most? Or what's the weak link?
So for us at Udeme, we see a very big problem of needs assessment. You know, lawmakers most often do not go to find out what members of the community need. So most often it's at their discretion, you know, what I feel my people need. Why not go find out what your people need, you know? So because when you give people what they actually need, they go extra miles to take care of it and see that it happens. And so that's one challenge on the side of the representative. And also for the community members, there's also the need to continuously ask questions, which most times they're timid, you know, we don't come forward to ask questions that need to be asked. But on the larger part, it's now, this is not a blame game we are playing, but we need to point out problems to find solutions, of course, and answer relevant questions. So for the lawmakers, there's need for them to, when you nominate a project, follow it through. You're not nominating it to decorate the budget document. You want to see it happen. You want federal presence for your people, and then you should follow this through. So through our various investigations, I like to refer to it that it's been a laughable venture because you keep hearing the same thing across board. So it's like there's a script somewhere, you know, and then there's a repetition. So we need to do better. We can do better, really. And the onus lies on our lawmakers and the agencies as well.
Yeah, as one who works in the field trying to help expose corruption, how difficult is it trying to expose corruption, particularly with regards to constituency projects?
It's not easy. That's the best way to say this, you know, because it's a partnership. I like to refer to it as a partnership because first you move to the agency who are always supervising. They know details about this project. And then you find it funny. So, for example, the most recent one with the borehole project relocated to a former president's house and the lawmaker's farm. So, agency is saying, we didn't know there's a farm there, or we're asked to do this. And then you call the lawmaker, you get, I'll need you to just read the report yourself and see comments made by the lawmaker and the agency. So it's quite funny that a lawmaker of the Federal Republic will make such comments asking you why you're looking for the project, you know, you're witch hunting, you're this. And this is a project that is meant to serve an entire community, but then it's located in your farm to serve your farm. And this farm of yours is not even within, you know, the community itself, or located in the central part of the community where everybody can access it. But then there's always going to be debunking and, you know, prescribing such stories as fake and all of that. So you see this borehole is in the lawmaker's farm, and it's meant, in the project you said it's meant for the community. Is the farm your community? And then you go on to say the former head of state requested for a borehole. It's a public facility.
Project.
Yeah, it's public facility, and then you turn
was it nominated to be on the former head of state's farm?
Well, as we saw, it wasn't even in the same location. So the location on the document is different, and the former head of state's house.
What lawmaker is this?
What's his name now? Sorry,
it's good so that people know that we are giving facts and not fiction. It's important.
Yeah.
But I want to move on to Mukhtar right now. Mukhtar will be speaking to us next. Mukhtar Modibo is a community engagement officer at Connected Development, what most people prefer to call CODE. And they've been following the money for so many years. Mukhtar, please share with us. I know you've been following the money. How rampant do you come across issues of corruption reports in constituency projects? And tell us really, if you follow, do you get it to a dead end? Is there frustration at the end?
All right. You know, first of all, one of the issue I want to really share maybe is understanding the scope of tracking. Now, you can't track what you don't know really. You cannot track what you basically don't know. Now, in tracking at Follow the Money, we basically look at three things. Information. Now, on the information we look at the project information, that's the project title, the location, and then the finance data. Now, project, location, and finance. Now, we have issues of data deficiency in this country that, you know, we don't have a set of information out there. And then secondly, I'll align myself with what she said around issues of, let me use another word, participatory budgeting or need assessment in doing things. Now, following up to constituency project is something that all of us need to do. But yes, our government, lawmakers, and other agencies have their own problem, and our citizens also have their own problem. Now, in power, we have power with and power over. You understand? You know, you cannot come and be bugging or knocking on a lawmaker's house for him to give you some certain amount of money, and you expect him to do something. He has his own family. You understand? He is a capitalist alone. You understand? He may need to do one or two things. So, but coming back to the question, the point is, at Follow the Money, like I said, we deal with information. Now, I'll give you an instance. In 2018, in Kano, there was 69 constituency project. Mark my word, 69 constituency project.
In the budget or on ground?
In the budget.
Okay.
Now, 43 were somehow completed. 4 were nowhere to be found. Like, the location is not there. There is nothing like location. Now, one, the contractor, you know, there are basically these things in construction. So there is construction, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. Now, the contractor is meant to construct and he rehabilitate. You understand? So basically, there is a deficiency in that aspect. Now, but the point is, how do you address that deficiency? As a lawmaker, you nominate a project, you move out. Yeah, let's say it's a school, you give it to UBEC, and UBEC transmit it to SUBEB, LGA, and then there are people in the community, that's the beneficiaries of that particular project. Ownership is key, and that is why I'll come back to my issue of power with and power over. Now, these people voted for you because all of us cannot be leaders. Now, giving them back that power is allowing them to say, hey, this is what you're going to use. This is how you're going to do it. So in tracking, in constituency project, I will say one of the major thing is lack of, monitoring. We don't monitor. The lawmaker has, let me say, court and on court, has a lot to do. If you check, maybe Honorable here is a House of Reps member. He lives in Abuja basically because the house is here. Going back to Jos, the rot network, the system, the whatever is faulty. So he had a whole lot to do. That's why we have legislative aid You know, not the ones that stay in the office, but the ones that stay in the constituency.
Yeah, but are there no M&E elements in the budget?
Thank you. They are. Now, let me take us a little bit back. If you check about counterpart funding of SUBEB and UBEC, now in this counterpart funding, there is some certain percent, 2% to be precise. 2% goes for monitoring and evaluation. But is that being done? 7% goes for teachers training. We're running a research in Kano on issues of teachers training and what have you. Could you imagine? I met a principal in Kano and Adamawa State. Funny enough, I'm from Adamawa State, and I met a principal. Asked her, she has been working for the past 25 years. She only attended 2 professional training.
For 25 years.
25 years. So you could imagine she don't even have the information. That's why I'll go back to that issue of information. So as a citizen, you can't track what you don't know. It's a thing of joy for a honorable member to nominate a project. And it's a thing of joy for that honorable member to share that same information of nomination of project to the beneficiaries of the project so that they have ownership. Ownership is key, because definitely if it is a primary health care, the honorable will not be there. Definitely the people that are beneficiaries are the people that are going to be there. So coming back to your question, the problem is we have our certain percent of problem as citizens, and the government and legislative has their own certain percent of issue.
All right, we'll get back to you at Follow the Money, but thank you very much, Mukhtar Modibo, for providing insight into it, particularly helping us to understand the difference between power with and power over. I hope we can work together. Let me move on to a former features editor of The Guardian. He's a development expert now and currently the coordinator of Outgrow Hunger in Nigeria campaign. Thank you very much, Mr. Tom Odewinge, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. Quickly, let us talk about needs assessment. That's been raised severally by the 2 previous speakers. When monitoring a constituency project, should the benefiting community not be involved to know the project really, whether they need it or not? And then the issue of monitoring.
Thank you very much. This thing is easier said than done. In fact, needs assessment is supposed to be very critical to every development intervention. And here we should also be interested in synchronization. We're not doing development in a vacuum. There's already a government, for instance, a state government. There's a local government that also provides framework for development. So if you're going to cite a constituency project, for goodness sake, you must bring everybody on board. And then you must also factor in what actually the community needs. It's not just enough for you to say, oh, a borehole, you want to sink a borehole. Is that really what they want? And, you know, unless you actually sit down with the community, you won't be able to get what they want. And there are so many approaches. The most efficient approach would seem to be the logical framework approach. It's a tool by which you actually, you know, put in view the problems of the community, and then they prioritize. It's as a result of that prioritization that you now decide on the project that they want. That's where the nominator actually should come in, to use the existing knowledge to decide on the activity, on the project to cite. But this doesn't happen, and I think that's why we're having problems to do with abandonment, problems to do with the whole issue of the quality of the work, for instance.
Yeah,
and also
what
the
can
process.
the community do? Should there not be a community contractor relationship with regards to the project itself?
No, I think the contractor is really not very critical at this stage. We are talking about the conceptualization of the project. What is the project and what is the scale of the project? So these are things. Then who is going to benefit from the project? We should have all this data, and it's this data that actually influences decision making. So that's the point I'm making. A needs assessment is a very participatory forum. It enables everybody to come on board to say what is the need for me, and what role am I going to play, and so on and so forth.
All right, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Well, for those of you who are listening, you are onto the Radio Town Hall meeting brought to you courtesy of Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development. You can join in by the phone line. We're talking about a constituency project, and it's important, you know, our guests. Coming up next, of course, we have Mr. Jide Ojo. Jide Ojo will be joining us right away. Jide Ojo is a development consultant, is an author, and a public affairs analyst. Of course, sharing also his thoughts with us about issues relating to the constituency project. Let me begin with you, Mr. Jide Ojo. What are the factors you think responsible for persistent corruption in constituency project execution year in, year out in Nigeria?
Thank you. I think I've listened to earlier speakers with rapt attention, and factors responsible for, I think we should not be hasty to say factors responsible for corruption. I think it should be factors responsible for inefficiency and ineffectiveness of the constituency project. The reason being that I think, taking my cue from what the Honorable Speaker said earlier on, yes, Mr. President said 11 trillion down the drain. ICPC came up with his report, very damning report. But the lawmakers have also come up to defend themselves. One fact is, yes, even where they vote 100 billion for a project, many at times there is poor funding of this constituency project. And once there is a poor funding, I think the problem actually starts from what earlier speakers said about the need assessment. And let me draw an illustration. Last week I was at a capacity building for journalists somewhere in Nasarawa State. And somebody cited an example which was very, very, very illustrative. There was this community that was giving borehole. And the borehole was well built, was functional. But the community destroyed that borehole. Do you know why? They destroyed the borehole because that was not what they needed. They preferred their children fetching water kilometers away early in the morning, because being a poor community, there is no enough space for the family to live. So the parents do not have time to perform their conjugal rights until early in the morning, when the children are all off to fetch water. So because now the borehole is with them, the children don't have to go far away. So it was a very illustration, very, very, the lady that started there. It got me thinking. It tells you, even though you presume that that's what they needed, they felt that's not what they needed, because fetching water from far or fetching firewood from far actually has a benefiting effect on them. So coming back to the issue of failure, one, I've mentioned lack of proper funding. Two is need assessment that is not properly done. Three is also the fact that this constituency project, because of insufficient funding, once you don't win re-election, end of discussion. Nobody carries your burden for you because there's no continuity. The project is in the name of Honorable Solomon. So Honorable Joshua comes in. He doesn't want to share the glory of Honorable Solomon. So he abandons it and initiates a fresh one. Meanwhile, government is supposed to be a continuum. So, and then you have the element of corruption. No doubt there is corruption in it, because then you have specification. Everybody, I mean, what I do know of constituency projects is that they will tell you, this is your envelope, 100 million for each senator, assuming without proceeding, 100 million for every senator. So what you can do with that envelope is what you should nominate. But was there even a design in the first place? No design. So you just say borehole. What kind of borehole? Because it's not just borehole, it's not just borehole. There's manually powered borehole, there's motorized borehole. But you just put borehole without specification, or you say PHC, primary health center. What is the specification? If you don't have that, then are the nominees, the honorables that nominate those projects, do they have the competencies to give specification? Or
is that not in the bidding process?
No, the bidding, they nominate. the bidding and all of that is left to the agency. In my own estimation,
that are supposed to be professionals
that is
who
supposed,
know what is needed.
now the agency that is supposed to implement on behalf of the lawmakers are not brought in on time, so this thing is just dumped on them. So they collate all the constituency projects that have been requested. So they look at different ministries, departments, and agencies that we implement and just dump it on them. So they start. It's at that point they start the design, the bidding, and you know what it is. Even before you get a shovel of sand on a project site, you must have cash backing. You must the selector of vendors. Then the Bureau of Public Procurement must certify that what you want to purchase or the amount you want to give out this project is actually within reason, a profit of margin that is not hurtful to the government. So all of these processes and procedures are usually not strictly followed. Coupled with the fact that, like I said, once you don't win a renomination, re-election, your project is just going to be abandoned. Yeah. Then lastly is when even you hand over a successfully completed project, is there budget for maintenance? Do we have maintenance culture? That's the question we should also ask ourselves. So it's a long chain of challenges that we have refused to address.
Yeah, we will need to come back to solutions generally, and I'm sure every one of us will be able to profile solutions. But let's also find out from those who are listening to the town hall from home or from their offices. While we are waiting for calls to come in, we hopefully will bring Honorable back to share his thoughts with us. I know there was a question raised earlier about a dam in Mangu, 55 million, not known anywhere. Electricity missing in that community. I don't want to live there, but I hope that community does not exist. Honorable sir.
Thank you. Coming from the North Central and Plateau, the entire amount that comes to me as constituency project is 125 million. And I cannot carry half of that money and put in one project and expecting that the entire constituency, which have boundaries with Bauchi State, boundaries with Nasarawa State, boundaries with Kaduna State, one of the largest constituency in Nigeria, and they will still be happy with me. I have never nominated a dam project because of the cost. I'm a civil engineer by profession, and I'm a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. I know how much it costs to build a dam, and I know the entire of my constituency project fund is not even enough for consultancy services.
Was there any dam nominated before you?
I've never nominated any dam. Maybe before me, or maybe from the Senate. You know, you cannot say exactly. Because once it is not my project, I have no business with the project. I only track and monitor the projects that are mine project. And then the Combling Bridge was actually nominated by my predecessor, which twice I have fought for money twice, but not under zonal intervention, but under the capital intervention of the government. And monies have been put in that project twice. The government has not funded one kobo of that project. And I'm still going to work towards ensuring that there is money in the budget for that same Combling Bridge. That bridge actually leads to the village of my predecessor. And for me, I felt that bridge was very important because that bridge will link the Deka community with the other side of the village, and the other side of the village is the fertile ground where all of them go to farm, and so they are expected that they will transport themselves, transport their farm produce back to their houses. So that project is very important to me, but it has never been nominated by me in any way. But
okay, sir. So because of time, because of time, we need to just run
yes, sir,
through.
As a representative of the people, what I try to do is that I identify areas where there are needs, and I write the agencies of government to make sure that, please, can you on your own, without looking at what the meager amount that is coming to us, intervene by providing ABC. The issue of electricity, in fact, over 90% of members today have issues with the Royal Electrification Agency, and I think there is need for all the people who are doing some investigation in this area to also focus on that agency, because projects nominated by members in that agency, none of them have seen the light of the day. And I think it's very important. I want to also put on record, sir, the agencies of government that are also giving us specification for the projects we can nominate. For many members of parliament, those projects are overpriced. We want them reduced because that will also reduce corruption. When you have profit over 35% or 40%, it's too much, sir.
Yeah, but what do you do locally?
Give me 125.
In the National Assembly, you have powers.
You couldn't have power, sir. They tell you that this is the cost price. I'm talking to you because I am a civil engineer.
Yeah, but we also have members who include their own profits. Can I read the agencies?
I am telling you this, sir. I don't know. But I'm saying that even the nominations that come from the agencies of government to us, if you say you want to be primary healthcare, my colleague there was talking about specification for all this. They bring all those things, sir. When they tell you primary healthcare, they bring all the designs, not the bill of quantities. They bring the design for you, and they tell you that the primary healthcare will cost you X million naira. So if you want, you know how much you have. How many of those projects can you afford? Then you nominate based on what you have available with you. So I think what we are saying is that some of the cost of those projects are already on the high side, and they are things that will attract corruption into the implementation of the project. Because when the contractors...
And you're telling us here, sir, that the National Assembly is handicapped. You can't do anything to prevent this overwhelming reality, this truth that you see, even as a professional.
We have fought, sir. We have fought to say, do this. But you see, again, at a point we fought, and then we were now guided by the Public Procurement Act. There are procedures for that to happen.
Okay.
Unexpectedly, that when the bidding take place, we expect that those monies will go down. Savings will be made for government.
All right, we hope so too. Thank you very much, Honorable, for your time. We hope we can do this. We'll allow the others to just do 1 minute to share with us your thoughts on the way forward. For those of you who are listening, we thought a lot of you will call in. We don't know what happened to the lines. But for Chiamaka, can you just tell us one way forward, how to get the best from the huge funds allocated for constituency projects?
Earlier I was trying to mention Mr. Shegun Williams of Abeokuta South Federal Constituency. That's his project. One way forward will be really the need for needs assessments. Lawmakers should first of all commune with members of their constituency to find out what exactly their need is. Like we heard Mr. Jideo just say, they will vandalize these projects if they don't want it. So we really should look out to give them what exactly they want. And when we do that in development communication, community participation, they will take care of this project and it becomes sustainable. So you make the most, it's value for money when you do needs assessment. So for me, the first step will be needs assessment.
All right, we have a caller. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
What's your name?
My name is Tola. I'm calling from Mandala.
Okay, go on quickly.
Are you hearing me?
Very clearly, go on.
Okay. I'll be listening all along. I think the best way to go about this corruption in constituency project is, and they really do us a favor like publishing this project constituency by constituency and the amount, and the amount released for those projects, and the contractor handling those projects, so that people themselves can actually be carry along and monitor all these projects.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, then. Thank you very much. Mukhtar Modibo of Community Engagement Officer at Connected Development. What the way forward? 1 minute.
All right. The first thing I would like to share is from the executive arm. See, from 2014 till date, no constituency project funding has exceeded 50%. It has always between that 50% to 47%. Today, the budget we're running is around 50% that is being funded. So that's the major thing that needs to be addressed. The money should be given. And the second thing is we need to understand two things: local problem and local solution. You might have your own problem, but the community have their own local problem and they understand it to give a local solution. And
Yeah, thank you very much. Your time is really used up. I'll take 1 minute from Mr. Tom Odewinge.
Yeah, I'm going to be ambivalent here. First, we need to interrogate the whole concept of constituency projects. Do we really need them? If we do need them, then we also need to interrogate the kinds of projects that should be supported. It seems to me that there's too much emphasis on concrete projects, whereas we are not seeing empowerment projects. We are not seeing, supporting young people to go into agriculture. We are not seeing, promotion of security in communities.
All right, thank you very much. I know as a food expert you will talk about that, but my role as a moderator is on this town hall meeting has come to an end. I appreciate you all, both participants and those of you out there, for contributing to the discussion. I'll hand you back now to Adobe, who will continue with the program. I'm Benjamin Ubiri. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ben Ubiri, for a wonderful moderation. You've heard it all. Needs assessment. It's important in the execution of and planning for constituency projects. And as citizens, we should be interested in the zonal intervention projects in our various constituencies. And with this, we've come to the end of this special radio town hall meeting against corruption. We appreciate our guests. Honorable Solomon Bulus Marin, representing Mangu Bokos Federal Constituency in Plateau State. Jide Ojo, Development Consultant, Author and Public Affairs Analyst. Tom Odemige, a former features editor of The Guardian, a development expert and currently the coordinator of Outgrow Hunger Nigeria campaign. Chiamaka Okafor, project assistant on Udeme, Premium Times Center for Investigative Journalism. Mukhtar Modibo, community engagement officer at Connected Development. If you have a message for us or you want to react to what you have heard on this program, please reach us through 0902 265 6167. That is 0902 265 6167, or through info@primorg.com, primorg.org. Please visit the news page of our website, news.primorg.org. That is news.primorg.org. For all the details of our reports and interviews, visit our website, primorg.org, for all the information about PRIMORG. Once again, PRIMORG is spelled PRIMORG. PRIMORG's engagement against corruption is supported by the John T. and Catherine V. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, vibrant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation at its website, macfound.org. We'll give you enough notice for our next radio town hall meeting here. Please follow us on all our social media platforms at official PRIMORG to get timely information on our activities. Many thanks to the PRIMORG team for a wonderful work, and to the executive producer of PRIMORG's radio town hall meeting series is Agbansuremi Okiria. I am Adaobi Obiabumo. Thank you so much.